In the beginning of this story, we see a sniper named Bob who is currently in Africa and is on a mission with his partner Donnie. Now, after a short observation, Bob sees a terrorist vehicle, and he kills this terrorist without delay. Now, before they could get out of here, a group of terrorists raided them with bullets. Now here Bob did his magic and killed many of these terrorists. But as soon as he saw, this situation started getting out of hand, and an enemy helicopter started dropping bombs around them. Now here Bob asked the CIA for help, but they didn't get any answer. Now in the middle of this shooting, a bullet hit Donnie and he lost his life. Now seeing this, Bob went red with anger, and he fired many bullets at that helicopter. Now initially his aim was wrong, but after a little effort, he killed this helicopter. Now after 3 years of this incident, we see Bob, who is now retired from the army and is living a normal life in the jungle with his dog. Now one day, a man named Isaac Johnson, who is the head of the CIA, went to meet Bob. Actually, Isaac got the news that soon there is going to be an attack on the U.S. president. So he went to meet Bob so that this attack can be stopped with the help of an expert. Actually, Bob's job was to make different plans to kill the president so that Isaac and his team are ready for every upcoming challenge. Now initially, Bob refused this job because now he has retired and he doesn't want to go back to that old life. But when Isaac told him the seriousness of the matter, Bob was also ready for this job. Now before leaving, Isaac gave all the information to Bob and called him to Washington next week. Now after a week, Bob reached Washington, D.C., where the president was going to give his speech. Now after many days of research, Bob told Isaac that the president is going to be attacked in Philadelphia. Now here Isaac thanked him and asked him to come on the day of the president's speech. Now such days passed, and very soon the day came when the president was going to give a speech in front of the whole country. Here Bob reached a room with Isaac from where he could see the whole city. Now here Bob met a man named Michael Sandor, who was a part of Isaac's team and played a major role in the security of the president. Now as soon as the president got on the stage to give his speech, Bob told everyone that this is the best chance to attack the president, so we should get him off the stage as soon as possible. But before he could finish his speech, a police officer in the room shot Bob, and on the other side, an unknown sniper shot the president. Now as soon as he saw this, Bob broke the window and ran away. And as soon as Bob left, Isaac's team cleaned the entire room and left Bob's sniper rifle and his fingerprints on a table. On the other side, an FBI officer named Nick tried to stop Bob, but Bob left him very easily and started going away by handcuffing him. But before leaving, he told Nick that I did not kill the president and I am being trapped. After this, he sat in Nick's car and started running away from the city. But before he could run away, FBI teams started chasing him. Now to escape from the police, Bob put his car in a car wash and quickly treated his wounds. But after a while, when he came out on the street, a police team surrounded him from all sides. Now since Bob had no other way, he put his car in reverse gear and fell into a river. After this, the FBI team searched this river well, but they did not find Bob because he had already run away from here, and after stealing a truck, he ran away from here. On the other side, all the news channels started showing pictures of Bob on TV and started calling him the murderer of the president. After this, we see the FBI headquarters, which was very angry with Nick because Bob had cheated him and ran away. Now here, Nick told his senior that while running away, Bob told him that he did not kill the president. However, Nick's senior did not believe him, and he demoted Nick and made him sit in the FBI call center. Now at night, Bob went to a supermarket, and before going inside, he cut the electricity of the shop. After this, he went inside the shop and bought some things from a lady. After this, he went to the toilet of the shop and treated his wounds. Meanwhile, the lady in the shop got suspicious of him, and she immediately called the FBI. Now here, Nick picked up his call where this lady told him that Bob had come to his shop a while ago. Now Nick trusted this lady and told this to his senior, but because of his past mistakes, his senior did not pay much attention to this. Now the whole night, Nick worked on this case and got all the information about Bob. Now the next morning, a lady came to his office who was actually Nick's colleague. Now when she saw Nick working on this case, she told him that the police officer who shot Bob, someone murdered him last night. Now after hearing this, Nick believed that Bob is innocent and someone tried to frame him. On the other side, we see Bob, who went to meet a lady. Actually, This lady was Donnie's widow wife Sarah. Although she met Bob for the first time today, she knows him since many years because after Donnie's death, Bob had written a letter to her, and he used to fool Sarah every year. Now Sarah had also seen Bob on TV, so she refused to help Bob. But when Bob told her that he is innocent, Sarah let him in. Now when he came in, Sarah told him that the president is absolutely fine, and that day that bullet was shot at a politician from another country. On the other side, we see Nick, who was checking all the buildings. Meanwhile, he reached a building where he found the marks of a sniper tripod, and this building was only 500 meters away from the crime scene. Now Nick felt a little weird because he read in Bob's file that Bob is a very good sniper. He kills his target from miles away, so how did he miss his target from a distance of only 500 meters? And how did he kill the other politician instead of the president? On the other side, we see Sarah, who is a nurse by profession, and now she is treating Bob. Now after a while, when Bob came to his senses, then Sarah told him that the government has even killed his dog. Now listening to this, Bob was very sad and he swore that he would erase this stain on his name, and only Nick can help him now here. Bob made a plan, and according to this plan, Sarah went to a cafe to meet Nick here. Sarah told him everything and gave him the number of Isaac's car so that Nick can investigate about this, and this will create fear in Isaac's mind. Now Nick also did the same and started tracking the car's number here. Isaac also found out that an FBI officer is tracking his car, and this is the same officer in whose car Bob escaped. Now before Nick could find out, Isaac's people kidnapped him and beat him up badly. Actually, they wanted to know how much truth does Nick know, but when Nick didn't tell them anything, they decided to kill Nick. But before they could kill him, Bob killed all of Isaac's people with the help of his sniper skills. Now here Nick told Bob that he knows that he is innocent, so he should surrender himself to the police so that the law can help you. However, Bob refused because if he didn't take revenge, then he will do the same with someone else. Now Nick also agreed to help him. On the other hand, Isaac and his friends found out that Bob sends flowers to a girl named Sarah every year, and as soon as they found out, Isaac sent his men to kidnap Sarah. On the other hand, Bob and Nick went to meet an expert of weapons where Bob asked this man, is it possible that a bullet can go from another gun and a sight from another gun? And this man said that yes, this technique is called paper patching technique, where a bullet goes from one place and a sight from another. And this man also told Bob that only one person can aim this accurately, and that is Mikhail. Now when this man told him about Mikhail, then Bob understood that Mikhail is none other than Michael Sandor, who was in his team with Isaac. After this, Nick called his office and found out about Michael Sandor, who was in Virginia. Now that night, Isaac's two men entered Sarah's house to kidnap her. Now Sarah killed one man, but unfortunately, the other man caught her here. Isaac also realized that till now, Bob must have known everything about Michael Sandor, and he will definitely go after her. So Isaac made a plan that when Bob and Nick will come to Virginia to catch Michael Sandor, then we will attack them and kill them. Now as per the plan, Bob and Nick went to Virginia and bought all the equipment to make a bomb. Now Bob knew that Isaac and Michael will also attack them, so he also taught Nick some sniping so that he can help him when the time comes. Now the next day, Bob went to Michael's farmhouse and Nick sat far away and told him the location of all the guards. Now Bob killed all the guards one by one, and before going to the farmhouse, he planted a lot of bombs in the bushes. After this, he went inside the farmhouse where Michael was already waiting for him here. Michael told him that his plan was not to kill the president, but to kill the leader of the other country, because that day, he was going to tell people about the village that Isaac and his team destroyed on the orders of an oil company. Actually, 3 years ago, a very big oil company had to lay its pipeline in a small village, and for this purpose, they had to vacate the entire village. But when the villagers refused to do this, then Isaac and his team killed all the people of the village and buried them in a big grave. Now here, Bob understood the whole thing, that 3 years ago, when he was in that village in Africa, then why did the U.S. Army left him and Donnie to die? And now Bob realized that not only Isaac but also the big politicians of this country are also involved in this scam. Now after telling this whole thing, Michael shot himself, and at the same time Isaac's people attacked Bob. Now Nick, who was sitting far away, activated all the bombs, and from inside, Bob started killing Isaac's people one by one. Now after killing all of them, Bob came out of the farmhouse, and at the same time, a helicopter started chasing him. Now since Nick and Bob were already ready for this attack, they fought Isaac's people. Now as soon as the helicopter came on top of an oil tanker, Bob shot the tanker and blasted it, and in this explosion, that helicopter also got burnt too. Ashes. Now let's see Isaac and his friends, who were getting more and more tensed because Bob was getting closer to them. On the other hand, Nick called the FBI and told them that he has caught Bob. Actually, Nick did this so that he can contact Isaac. Now this plan worked, and in the next few minutes, Isaac called Nick. Now here, Bob talked to Isaac and placed an offer in front of him that if he leaves Sarah, he will delete the recording of Michael Sandor in which he tells how Isaac and his team ruined an entire village of Africa. Now Isaac had no other option, so he agreed to this deal, and the next day, they decided to meet on a snowy mountain. Now the next day, Isaac and his friends reached the mountain with Sarah. Then a man came towards them, but Isaac's sniper shot him. Now Isaac thought that he killed Bob, but this was Bob's plan, and this man was Nick, who had placed a bulletproof metal inside his jacket. Now, when Isaac's sniper shot Nick, he found out the location of the sniper, and here, Bob shot a headshot and killed the sniper. Along with this, he shot the man who held Sarah's hand. Now let's see the FBI chief, who got a letter from Nick, and through this letter, Nick gave him all the information about this mission. Now after reading this letter, the FBI team also went towards the mountain to arrest Isaac and Bob. Here, after killing the sniper, Bob came in front of them, and here Nick took Isaac and his friend's weapons, but then Sarah took a gun and killed that man because he had kidnapped Sarah and tortured her a lot. Now here, Bob calmed her down and started talking to Isaac's friend here, Makayam told Bob that he can't do anything to them. Now here, Bob understood that if he published these evidences, then the government people will kill Nick and Sarah, and that's why he burnt this recording in front of them. Now here, the FBI team came, and along with Bob, Isaac and his friends were also arrested. Now after a few days, Bob was presented in front of the court, and in this court, Isaac and his friends were also present. Now here, Bob got his rifle so that he can prove his innocence. Here, Bob told the judge that he had removed the firing pins of his gun before leaving the house, and it is impossible to fire a bullet with this gun without firing pin. Now to prove this, he fired a bullet on Nick, but because there were no firing pins, the bullet remained inside the gun, and this proved that Bob is innocent. Now this court told Bob that he is innocent, but he didn't take any action against Isaac because Bob had burnt the last evidence against him. Now that night, Isaac and McKim went to their farmhouse and celebrated their victory, but then Bob came there and started killing Isaac's men one by one, and as soon as Isaac stood up, he shot him in the chest and killed him. After this, he came inside the house and killed Isaac's friend McKim. Now while leaving the house, he made a blast in the gas pipeline so that there is no evidence against him. Finally, Bob took his revenge and got justice for all the people killed in that village. On the other side, we see Sarah, who was waiting for her outside the farmhouse. After this, they both left the house and started a new life together. I hope you liked today's story. If you like this video, then please like it and subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which part of this story you like the most, and yes, do comment. I will try my best to reply to as many comments as possible. Okay, see you in the next video. Till then, be safe.